Get psyched with the Gab on MavRadio.fm. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this week's The Gab here on MavRadio.fm. I am Gabby Kesterson, your host, and I'm a psychology major. That means I love everything to do with people, their personalities, and what makes you tick. Today, I want to talk about something we all experience, and in college, this midterm season, we experience a lot. That would be stress. We all know it, we all feel it from time to time, and I'm here to talk about it. I'll be sharing what stress is, what it does to your body, post-traumatic stress disorder, and ways of coping, handling, and minimizing stress. So don't go away. I'll be right back here on The Gab on MavRadio.fm. And you are back on The Gab here on this beautiful Wednesday morning. I have really been disliking the snow lately, though. I mean, just stop already. But apparently tonight we're going to get more snow. Oh, my word. And they're saying there's going to be more this weekend, and it's just all over the place. And I can definitely wait for that. Like, I can wait till next year. Let's just push it into next year. Let's just get started with spring already. But besides the awful Arctic tundra we're in, it is a beautiful Wednesday. And for a lot of you, it is hump day for your jobs or school. You probably tell yourself all week, just make it to the weekend, just make it to the weekend. And you're handling all the responsibilities you have and your sleep schedule and your homework and just, Yep, that's what I'm talking about. Stress. In essence, stress is a fight or flight response to a situation. Stress typically has two components: the stressor, which is the event that creates the demands, and the stress response, how we react to the demands. Every day, things like traffic may stress us out. Big milestone events like marriage may stress us out. Long-term issues to handle like poverty may stress us out. And a traumatic event like a car accident may stress us out. And for good reason. The way we respond to all of these stressors is actually influenced by the way we judge the events. If we judge a marriage as something that is stressful and out of our capacity to handle, then we are less likely to feel equipped to handle the stressor and will have a negative stress response. Likewise, if we judge a marriage as something that is stressful, but manageable, we have the ability and the resources to cope with it and take it in stride. Stress is also something that can be threatening to our well-being. When this happens, our natural reaction is arousal, which is what I said about fight or flight a couple shows ago. This arousal comes with a sense of fear, and fear can be manifested in physical, emotional, and mental ways. Physically, we start breathing faster, sweating, tensing our muscles. Our heart starts beating like crazy. Emotionally, we can feel horror and panic, and that's a terrible feeling. And cognitively, we can lose our focus, we can lose our memory, and start to view the world differently than if we were calm. But everybody experiences stress differently. For you, stress and fear and arousal may come in the form of sweaty pits, spinning thoughts, hyperventilation, a loss of focus. For others, arousal may make someone focus more, or get angry, or start crying, or just laying down on the floor. There is no limit to how someone can react to extremely stressful situations. But there is one thing we all share with stress: the fact that it is not good for us. I'll be talking more about that, how stress is not good for us, right after this short break here on The Gab on MavRadio.fm.
It won't keep us apart.
And I am back here on the Gab. Today we are talking about stress. Oh yeah, we all know that one. We experience that as college students pretty much on the regular. I mean, I do. When I know I've got a million things to do and just not enough time to do them all, or I'm running late to class and the traffic is horrible and there's ice and snow, or I have to choose between doing one thing or the other and I really want to do both and I don't want to make anybody mad. Yeah, those are just a few examples of how I personally get stressed out. I went ahead and posted a poll on MavRadio's Twitter at MavRadioUNO asking you if you are experiencing stress today. I really want to know, so go ahead and answer that. But let me tell you that stress is not good for you in the long run. I mean, if you get stressed out because of traffic or a fight with your spouse or homework, that is normal and worth noting. But when that stress carries on into more and more parts of your life, and you can't seem to shake that feeling of tension, nausea, nervousness, or whatever, that has some serious negative impacts on your health. According to Healthline.com and reviewed by PhD Timothy Legg, stress in the short term can actually be good for your health. It can actually help boost your brain's performance by improving your memory, your attention, and helping you become more productive. I can believe that one. When you've got a test to really cram for the next day, you better be remembering those answers, equations, definitions, etc. And you better be paying attention or this late night was all for nothing. And you're more productive in getting it done because you do not want a bad grade. Yeah. Okay, maybe that is an exaggeration, but really, I believe that short-term stress can improve brain functioning by kicking it into gear. Some people work really well under stress and others do not. Everybody's different. Another positive to short-term stress is that it can actually give your immune system a boost. You can fight that cold, honey. But remember, this is for short-term stress. Quite the opposite happens under long-term stress. Now hang on, because I have got a lot of symptoms for long-term stress. So just hold your horses. I am telling you guys, stress is not your friend in the long run. Okay, here we go. Well, to reiterate, long-term stress means you are past the point of being in danger or your well-being being threatened, and you're still feeling like a bear is going to jump out and attack you at any moment. With your arousal being in a heightened state for so long, it can do some serious damage. And I talked about this previously with anxiety. And I think I talked about this with fear as well, if I'm remembering correctly. But if you remember, having your defenses up for that long is no bueno. But some symptoms for this long-term stress include irritability, anxiety, depression, headaches, and insomnia. Not to mention, chronic stress is related to overeating, not eating enough, alcohol or drug abuse, and social withdrawal. If you already have trouble breathing with asthma or whatever, chronic stress can put a lot of strain on your respiratory system and your cardiovascular system, raising your blood pressure and increasing your chances of stroke or heart attack. Stress can also increase your body's blood sugar, aka glucose, in order to cope with stress and give you that boost of energy you need. But chronic stress can actually make you more susceptible to type 2 diabetes. Mix together the stress hormone cortisol, rapid breathing, and increased heart rate. This can mess up your digestive system, and you will be more likely to have heartburn or acid reflux. Not to mention increasing your risk for stomach ulcers, or getting the ones you already have to flare up. Now, to get a little gross, but probably but probably what we are all thinking and have been through. When you're stressed, you are also more likely to have diarrhea, or the opposite, constipation, as well as nausea, vomiting, and stomach aches. Not fun. You think I'm about done? Nope. Stress is that bad, people, and I am here to warn you and eventually lead you to salvation with some awesome ways to de-stress. But before that, I need to tell you how stress can affect your muscles, your sexuality and reproductive system, and your immune system. So your muscles, when in chronic stress, are constantly tight. Your muscles need time to relax and not be flexed in order to function correctly and have you feeling good. On the other hand, being tense can lead to pain wherever it is your muscles have been tensing. You can get headaches, back and shoulder pain, and general body aches all over. Healthline warns us that this can lead to an unhealthy cycle, as your muscle pains may lead you to stop exercising and instead coping with the pain with pain medication. Instead, it is good to stretch your muscles out and stay active, even despite the pain. There are other ways, despite medications, to release the underlying problem, stress. Thought stress was bad enough? Nope, it can get worse. For men, chronic stress can actually drop your testosterone levels way down. This can lead to a reduced sex drive, and even if you wanted to, it can lead to erectile dysfunction and lower your sperm count. For the ladies, stress can mess up our periods, making them irregular, heavier, or crampier. Ouch. As well as make menopausal symptoms that much worse. For both men and women, stress can increase the risk for infection of our reproductive organs. And lastly, stress is a huge culprit in a lowered immune system, as I mentioned before. As you've probably heard before, people who are stressed out have unfortunately lowered their defenses, and those foreign invaders are coming in. People with chronic stress are more susceptible to viruses like the common cold and the flu, as well as other infections. Stress can also lengthen the time it takes for you to bounce back from illness or injury. Yikes! You believe me now on why we gotta manage stress? It is a truly awful thing in the moment, and so much worse the longer we let it go on. Up next, I'll be talking about disorders of stress and ways to manage stress. So don't go away. I'll be right back here on The Gab after a couple songs right here on MavRadio.fm.
We don't talk anymore. We don't talk anymore. We don't talk anymore like we used to do. Doesn't tear you apart anymore.
Hello, Trent Kuchara! That is what happens when you let me know that you're listening to my show. I will shout you out and most likely sing to you. Hi, Trent. Thanks for listening. If you are, I understand you're babysitting right now and can't find your headphones, but hey, I'm playing really calm music today, so up to you if you want to play that for little guy. Okay, hello everyone. That was really personal. And welcome back to The Gab here on MavRadio.fm. I have been talking about stress today, what stress is, and how it can affect us in the short and long run. I also posted a poll on MavRadio's Twitter asking if you are stressed today. Go ahead and answer that. I would love to know how you all are. Now, I will be discussing acute and post-traumatic stress disorders, the extreme forms of stress that go way beyond just chronic stress. These disorders are when our natural inhibitors, or stoppers, for those arousal symptoms do not shut off. So we just keep going, and going, feeling the same way we did in the moment when there was danger or something upsetting happened. And we just keep feeling that on and on. So to begin, acute stress disorder is when a person experiences fear and related symptoms soon after a trauma, typically within 4 weeks of the trauma. But the symptoms last for less than a month. When those symptoms last longer than a month, that is when post-traumatic stress disorder is given as a diagnosis. Post-traumatic stress disorder, also known as PTSD, can actually begin its onset not just shortly after the traumatic event, but months or even years afterward. And obviously, it can last for a very, very long time. Studies suggest that at least half of all acute stress disorders develop into PTSD. Despite the fact that acute stress disorder and PTSD have different onset times and duration lengths, their symptoms are practically identical. One such symptom is increased arousal, as we have been talking about so far today. These people may feel excessively alert, easily startled, and have trouble concentrating and sleeping. They may experience negative emotions such as anxiety, anger, and depression, and these emotions can fluctuate throughout their day. People with stress disorders may also feel extreme guilt if they survived a traumatic event while others did not, or maybe they feel guilt about what they had to do to survive. Oftentimes, people with these stress disorders relive and re-experience the traumatic event with recurring thoughts, memories, dreams, or nightmares, all connected to the event they lived through. Some relive the moments so vividly, they actually believe it is happening again. As I have so often heard with war veterans here in the U.S., fireworks can set off those with stress disorders, as they may be so traumatized from the shooting and explosives that happened while they were at war that fireworks bring back those memories full force, and they can't help but feel on edge and tense, or even upset and scared. People with stress disorders often avoid situations that remind them of the traumatic event, and they try to avoid the related thoughts, feelings, and conversations. So it is a fear of what happened to them, just like a phobia that we talked about in another show. And so much as thinking about it can set off their entire arousal fight or flight system. And lastly, those with stress disorders may experience reduced responsiveness and dissociation. I did not learn what dissociation really was until I was preparing for this show. And I've heard it a lot when people go into dissociation. But I'll share with you what I've learned. So dissociation, first, reduced responsiveness. These people may feel detached from other people, unable to respond to external stimuli, and they lose interest in things that used to bring them joy or excitement. And then they also experience dissociation, which is considered psychological separation. So they feel dazed, they have trouble remembering things, and they experience a separation between what is real and what is not, with depersonalization, or the feeling that they are not real, their human bodies and their consciousness, and derealization, that their environment and the world around them is unreal. So that's dissociation. I learned something new here. An acute or post-traumatic stress disorder can occur at any age, and it can affect one's personal, family, social, or occupational life. Surveys show that 3.5 to 6% of people in America have either acute or post-traumatic stress disorder any given year, and 7 to 12% suffer from one of them in their lifetimes. Around half of these people seek treatment for their disorder, but approximately 20% attempt suicide. Not to mention, people with these disorders also develop other disorders, such as depressive, anxiety, or substance use disorders. Going deeper into demographics, women are more likely to develop these disorders as they are more often exposed to traumatic experiences, such as rape and sexual assault. Also, Hispanic Americans, African Americans, and American Indians are more likely than white Americans to develop a stress disorder, but the reason for this is still unclear. Some theories tie some theories tie the minority groups to poorer financial statuses, which can limit their access to mental health care in the aftermath of their traumatic experiences. Other theories look at cultural beliefs, with some cultures believing traumatic events are inevitable and unchangeable, which these theorists believe can heighten a person's risk for developing a stress disorder. So I guess the way that a person thinks about it can change how you experience it. If you or someone you know has a stress disorder, I cannot stress enough how helpful treatment can be. I do not have time to dive into all of the different treatments for PTSD, but you can do yourself a service by checking it out online. You don't have to be chained to your stress, which as I've mentioned before is very bad for your health. Take care of yourself and others by seeing what you can do about post-traumatic stress disorder. Just talking to someone about it and receiving help and guidance can be so helpful. One great resource right here at UNO is CAPS, or the Counseling and Psychological Services. And on their website, they show you all the services they offer, how many sessions you get for free each semester, what to do in a crisis, and how to help a friend, and so much more. And with that, I'm going to take a quick break here on the Gab, and I'll be right back talking about some great ways to handle stress in your life. Don't go away. You are listening to the Gab with me, Gabby Kesterson, right here on MavRadio.fm. Whew, that song, man, that is so powerful. In case you didn't know, that was the song 1-800-273-8255, which is the suicide hotline. Last week, I discussed depression and suicide, and I really should have put that song in there. But hey, you live and you learn. But anyways, that song, I feel, was a great way to talk about suicidal thoughts and ideations, as well as show someone's thought processes going through that. Not to mention, they also were pretty uplifting, saying you've got a reason to live and you just have to push through even though it's really hard. And that really is the suicide hotline. So please, friends, if you ever feel like life is spinning out of control and you're having thoughts like our good friend Logic here, please do not hesitate to call that hotline. A couple years ago, someone I only met once, but was good friends with my good friend, was so stressed out with school and life in general, she ended up taking her own life. It really, really rocked me to my core. And we all were so heartbroken and we just didn't understand. But she was going through something internally and it was too much. So even if you don't want to call a hotline, call a friend, call a family member, go see someone in person who makes you smile, who makes you feel better. Just do not go through it alone. You need that support, that someone to care about you. And trust me, they care. We all care. Anyways, I thought that song was extremely sad. But here on the Gab, I do not shy away from sad. I want to talk about the hard things because life can be hard sometimes. And I think we all need to discuss these very important matters instead of sweeping them under the rug and pretending they aren't there. Of course, I'll be bringing some happy conversations to my show because if you know me, I'm in love with positivity, and I'm currently learning about well-being in a course here at UNO called Mental Health and Well-Being with Dr. Shear. So be sure and tune in to those shows, which will probably be a few weeks of talking about positive psychology and why it isn't all about being positive, but immersing yourself into a whole new world of taking care of yourself and other people. I absolutely love it, and I can't wait to share that with you guys later on in the month. But yes, okay, way off track here. I am back on the show today about stress to talk about some great ways to de-stress and get some relief from those awful symptoms of stress. To start, let me just say that stress is not something we can eliminate. It is something that is impossible to get rid of completely because we do need it for short-term dangers or demands in our lives. But learning to manage our stress can and will do wonders for our bodies, our minds, and our spirits. First step is to find out what is stressing you out. What are your triggers? Is it graduate school? Talking with a certain person? Preparing for a big presentation? Or your job you do every day? Then you need to figure out which ones can be avoided. Talking to a certain person may or may not be avoidable. Doing your homework is not avoidable. And your job, well, that's up to you if you want to put up with that job that stresses you out to the max every single day. If you can avoid it without facing severe repercussions for your decision, then avoid it. Why not? It's an unnecessary struggle and is really weighing you down and affecting your health. If it is something unavoidable, then maybe reevaluating the way you approach the person, the place, or the situation can help manage your stress. Adapt to the stressor. See how it has been affecting you before and change something. And if you can't change some aspects of that situation or any aspect, then accept that it is unchangeable. Sometimes coming to accept something is the hardest thing of all. But many things in life are out of our control. And the sooner we learn to let go of things we cannot change, the easier life will become. You can always try and find the upside of situations you cannot change, seeking out ways it can benefit you or help you grow as a person. But now let's dive into some ways to manage stress. Eating a healthy diet is one way. Big shocker there. Yeah, you are what you eat. And eating crap food will not only make you feel like crap, but after a long enough time will make you look pretty crappy. And I mean that in the nicest way. But I'm telling you, changing your diet to whole foods, more fruits and veggies, drinking more water, cutting out unnecessary ingredients, reducing your sugar intake, these can all help you look better and feel better, and therefore reduce unneeded stress and help you manage your stress better. Another way to manage stress is to sleep better. Now, I know I just said stress can make sleeping feel impossible, but there are many ways to wind down for the night. One way is to read a book, which is not only going to help you with sleeping, at least for me, but will improve your brain functioning, your creativity, and help you learn new things and become a more interesting person. Reading a book is one way that really helps me get sleepy. It's not that the book is boring, but something about lighting my candle, getting under my sheets, propping up my pillows, and reading a book makes me so dang relaxed. This is all part of my routine. A very important thing you can do to get back on a better sleep schedule is to make a routine. Turning off your electronic devices, getting some soothing smells going, turning down the lights, doing some light stretching. These are all ways to get yourself in the sleeping mood. The next way to manage your stress is to exercise regularly. Now, remember when we talked about muscle tensions and headaches being side effects of arousal? Those can easily make you want to just curl up in bed and not move. But studies show that exercise is a great way in keeping your muscles healthily worked, less likely to tense up for long periods of time, help you sleep better, and get some good feeling hormones pumping through your system. This can combat those negative thoughts associated with stress. They can help you get through an irritable mood and so much more. I personally love working out with whatever music my mood is in, align that mood and music. So if you're feeling really stressed, get some music going that can help you punch and kick that stress right out of you. Now, here's another non-shocker. Reduce your intake of caffeine and alcohol. Remember when Anna had come on as a guest here on the Gab, and we were talking about anxiety, and she had said caffeine can really mess her up when she's feeling anxious? Well, arousal and stress are close cousins to anxiety, if not siblings, and caffeine gets your everything going. Like I said about arousal, breathing increases and heart rate increases. So add caffeine and suddenly your heart is feeling like it's going to jump out of your chest. As for alcohol, alcohol is a depressant. And whatever mood you're in, just know alcohol is going to take that and run with it. If you're feeling stressed, alcohol may be a great short-term relief, but alcohol is known for increasing negative thoughts, decreasing your impulse control, and therefore you will be more likely to make bad decisions. And you don't want to add that to your plate, do you? So reduce that caffeine and that alcohol intake. I think a really important stress management technique is finding time for yourself. Take care of yourself. Your body is the only one you have, and making sure it is well rested and gets time to relax is so important in helping it be the best body it can be. Like I said before, eating right, sleeping well, relaxing, rejuvenating are all ways to take care of yourself. Doing what makes you happy, what makes you laugh, what makes you think. They're all great ways of self-care. You can also learn meditation techniques, deep breathing techniques, and so much more to help get your mind focused and quiet your body down. Another great stress manager is time management. Yes, I said it. Something we all can do better at. When we have important things that must get done, it is our duty to put those things on the top of our list so we aren't stressing about them later. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Gabby. Me. Yes, I definitely struggle with time management from time to time. And let me just say, when you just do what you need to do and set aside that time to do it, it is a game changer. It feels so dang good to have something done on time or ahead of time, and then having time to watch Netflix or read a book or whatever I want to do after. Man, I can't wait for summer though. Oh. And lastly, the very last way I will share with you on how to de-stress is to connect with others. I've said that a lot. We are social creatures and we need to connect with other people. Just like for anxiety disorders, depressive disorders, grief, and whatever, it is so helpful to have someone to talk to about it. Getting professional help is also something I strongly recommend, and it doesn't have to be over something super severe or intense or dangerous. You can go more for a checkup on your mental health, which I know and believe to be as important as physical health. We all get sick from time to time, and seeking out help from another human being is a great thing to do. Not to mention, most people, like maybe not a therapist, but your friends or your family members, will probably relate to you and tell you how they've been feeling the same way. Because stress is just that common and annoying. Going along with connecting with others, giving hugs is just absolutely fantastic for our health. As I said before in an older show, my grandma had always said to give a certain number of hugs a day. And I think it was like 20. And at the time I was like, what? But now I'm like, yeah, that is so good for me. So give all the people you love big ol' hugs and connect. You'll thank yourself later. And that wraps up my show today all about stress. I hope this helped you in some way or inspired you to help someone you know who is stressed out. I know school is getting real crazy right now, and it only seems to be getting crazier, but you can do this. We can do this. I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Remember those ways to de-stress and practice them. And enjoy these last few songs I've picked out for you here on the Gab. I will catch you next week, Wednesday at 10 a.m. You're listening to MavRadio.fm.